I feel like this episode is a reality check to remind you that you don't need to have your life perfect and you don't need to have everything figured out in your 20s. I feel like social media has created this illusion that everyone's life is picture perfect, but it's literally not. Like in this video, I want to remind you that your life doesn't suck as much as you think. In fact, your life is amazing. And I will share like my own journey going from feeling really behind in life, needing to have everything figured out, constantly comparing myself to everyone else, and chasing perfection to just simply appreciating life for what it is and loving myself for the way that I am. And I'll de-influence you so that you can stop hating your life and actually fall in love with it. A lot of us live life for the internet, and I'm guilty of this. And it's something that I've been working on changing because when I've filmed my previous vlogs on YouTube, I find myself doing things just for the video and not really doing things for me. I was living life for the internet, like let's just call it what it is. I think we focus a lot on how we present ourselves on the internet because it's such a powerful way to like represent our personalities. But where things slightly get a bit weird is when we start to do activities that we don't normally do, and it's not something that we would organically do, but we're just doing it because how it's going to like look really cool online. Like some people literally go on a vacation just for the sake of social media.
Wait, why?
Wait, why not?
Okay, wait, no.
I think that in your own mind, you need to make a mental note of living for yourself first and living for the camera and for your phone second or even last, okay? It's not fun to live a life that is fake just for the internet. There was a phase in my life when I would buy an outfit just to take a cool picture for Instagram or order like a really aesthetically pleasing meal like just for the picture. But now I want the croissant melt, okay? Not the avocado toast.
And I think it's so fun.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Just because it's more aesthetic. Like, of course, I love avocado and toast, but if you understand what I'm trying to say, is that I would literally order that meal just to look cool on Instagram or just to post like a really aesthetically pleasing picture. Like, I envy people. Okay, let's not say envy, but I appreciate people who have a complete aesthetic vibe, whether it's online, whether it's in real life. Like, the amount of effort that you put into all of that it's amazing. Okay, and I definitely look at those people and I'm like, wow, the amount of energy that you put into how you look, how your online presence is, like, I really value it and I appreciate it from afar. But I will never be that person. Okay, I love taking pictures. I love looking at things that are aesthetically pleasing. It's nice to look at. Okay, but for myself, I've just come to terms with the fact that I will never be that person, and that's just the way it is. Like for me, it's exhausting trying to post something perfect on social media like all the time. I think this year for me was a major wake-up call when I looked at my life and it didn't feel that great because I felt like I was living for the internet and for other people. And now I'm just like, honestly, who cares? I can't sacrifice my happiness or what I want for anyone else anymore. And also, like, no one cares. Okay, that's another reality that I've come to terms with, the fact that no one really cares. No one is paying that much attention to you. Okay, so why am I even caring that much? And once I realized that, things started to shift in my life and I started to rather do things for me and not for anyone else. Like now, I will rather choose to do things that I really want to do or try and do things that I want to experience, not just to post it on the internet. I don't know about you, but my brain is messed up. Okay, social media for me has convinced us that we need to be perfect. We need to live this perfect life. Whether that is having perfect skin, exciting jobs, dreamy relationships, traveling every month. But let me be honest with you, that is a total lie because life isn't always perfect and glamorous, and it's not supposed to be. Like, as bad as it sounds, if we don't experience hard times, how will we ever appreciate the good moments we have in life? And no one's life is perfect. My life is not perfect either. It may seem perfect from like the outside, like, oh, she eats out at Kauai all the time. She goes to cool events. She always has time to chill on the beach. But in reality, those are like snippets of my life. I'm also just figuring it all out, just like everyone else. So that is what inspired like this week's episode, because this year I want to just live life for me instead of caring about keeping up with the expectations everyone else has. And that is why I want to de-influence you as a 29-year-old young woman, and maybe you will love your life a bit more after this episode. De-influencing is a trend that emerged as like a counter movement to the overwhelming influence of social media influencers promoting products, like product pushing. Instead of recommending products to buy, de-influencers focus on telling their followers what not to buy, often pointing out items that may not live up to like the hype, are not that necessary, or aren't even worth the money. Okay, so the goal is to encourage more thoughtful, intentional consumer choices and to push back against mindless consumerism driven by influencers and advertisements. It's becoming a bit overwhelming. Okay, and essentially it's about promoting honesty, sustainability, and conscious spending rather than pushing products for the sake of sales. Okay, so in my early 20s, I felt this major pressure to be successful and have a lot of money by the age of like 25, because otherwise I wouldn't be taken seriously in my 30s. I had this urge to be young and successful, and like saw other girls on social media starting businesses and becoming influencers and living this like perfect life. And I think the best piece of advice I have gotten is that, why are you in such a rush? Okay, good things take time. Not everything has to be achieved at this very moment. Now I'm 29. I don't have it all figured out. Like, I don't own a house. I'm not married. I don't have kids. My life hasn't gone exactly how I've planned, and half of my goals have not been achieved yet. When I finished high school, I wanted to travel. I didn't know like what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to waste my time studying further, especially because I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And then in my early 20s, I still did not know what I wanted to do. And of course, it stressed me out a lot, but not anymore. Like right now, I want to grow my YouTube channel. I want to grow my podcast. I want to get my business up and running, because I finally figured out what fulfills me career-wise, and I want to pursue that. But sometimes my thoughts are messy and all over the place, and I feel a lot of pressure to have things figured out at like a certain time or a certain age. And you know what? It's okay to not have it all figured out.
Okay.
And as I get older, I have become more peaceful with myself and the life that I want to create for myself. I no longer do things from the place of ego or desperation. I do what feels good in my soul and what makes me happy.
Basically, like, live your life.
On social media, everything seems so big and glamorous, like working on an exciting job, okay? Living in a big city, living in big fancy homes, having tons of friends, and consistently like doing fun and exciting things like a girls' night or going to parties and fancy events with friends, traveling to new countries every month, and like basically having these beautiful Instagram-worthy lives. Seeing this constantly has honestly messed with my brain and my mental health, because I started seeking a life that would be interesting and worthy enough only to be showcased on social media. I started unconsciously making and seeking experiences that would be cool enough to post on Instagram. And if I wasn't doing something fun or cool or interesting, I would feel like my life is boring. And I felt like that for a very long time. Also subconsciously comparing my life to everyone else's. And you know what? It does hurt your brain, okay? When you're constantly scrolling and looking at things, it's not a healthy form of dopamine, okay? It naturally is going to take a toll on your mind. The reality is that most people live a simple life, so there is absolutely nothing wrong with yours. And I'm not just saying that because that's what people say when they have boring lives and want to feel good about themselves. I really mean it. Like, because the extra added pressure that you place on yourself is really not worth it. And it takes the fun out of life if you are only living life for the internet or for other people who don't even care, okay? You don't have to quit your day job and start a business to be happy. You don't have to travel every month to a new country to be happy. You don't have to get more than 100 likes on your photos to be happy. In everything you do in life, whether it's starting a business or moving homes or even posting pictures on Instagram, ask yourself, why am I doing this? What are my intentions? If your intentions are about trying to impress other people or wanting to fit in or comparing your life to someone else's, then I would suggest to rethink your decision. Most of my time, I'm literally working all the time. I'm not even kidding. I love working and I love being busy. I'm usually in comfortable clothes. I spend my weekends at home mostly. I love grabbing a smoothie by myself, watching a movie by myself at home on the couch. So basically, simple human life, okay? Nothing very glamorous and over the top. If you look at social media influencers and bloggers, many of them are traveling to new places every week, like Bali, Paris, New York, wearing really cool, trendy outfits, going to cool events, living in these really nice hotels. And I'm not gonna lie, but that, of course, that type of lifestyle looks so fun and so exciting and so perfect. But I've experienced a bit of that glamorous life when I was friends with one of these girls that I met at one of my first jobs. And to be honest, it wasn't all that fun. Sure, you go out to fancy clubs and hotels and restaurants, but I didn't enjoy it after a while. It became boring to me and I wanted to go home most of the time. And every time when we go out, I was actually not having a good time. As soon as we would arrive, I would literally just want to go home. When you're spending time, especially with people that you eventually figure out isn't your vibe, and you figure out these places don't fulfill you anymore, you start to lose interest in experiencing things like that. I'm sure it's not all like that, but in my own experience, when I've experienced that type of lifestyle, you are around a lot of superficial people and you can't really form genuine connections or friendships with those people, and it's all just kind of for show and very fake to me. It's not the life that I thought that I actually wanted. There is more to life than just going to some event or being around certain people, taking a cool picture and then not even really enjoying yourself. Some of it obviously is very fun, trying new places and meeting new people is really fun. I just think on social media, traveling, living in hotels, driving fancy cars, wearing designer stuff is just too romanticized on social media. Maybe my experience also has to do with the fact that I'm more of an introvert, and in society there is this common understanding that the more loud and social you are, the more confident you are. And maybe it's because in movies we tend to see the nerdy guy being socially awkward, wearing the most unfashionable clothing, not getting female attention, and then you see this loud social athlete stand out because they have more confidence and they kind of get everything that they want in life. So maybe that's sort of given us a jaded perception of what an introvert is. I'm an introvert, and when I'm out in a big social setting, I do feel socially awkward. It's not my favorite thing to do. I tend to be more quiet, even around friends or family, but I am also able to turn on being social when I'm in those types of settings, and I don't get awkward in silence. I actually enjoy it, but my social battery becomes depleted very quickly. I prefer my own company or being around people that don't drain my energy. But every introvert is obviously different, and just because you are a more introverted person does not mean that you are less confident or don't know who you are or can't form connections with people. I'm not the most talkative person unless I obviously know you really well. I don't like small talk. I prefer deep conversations, and I've accepted that this is the way that I am. And especially in big social settings, you know, you need to kind of know who you are. And if you are an introvert, there's nothing wrong with that. Once I started actually accepting myself for who I am, instead of trying to be someone that I'm not, things became easier for me. And I was able to just be myself. For example, I do have good skin compared to a lot of other girls who tend to maybe struggle with their skin. However, I don't have that like perfect glass skin that you see on TikTok. Like that's either really great editing or really good genes, because the overconsumption of skincare products is not going to give you the same skin as Hailey Bieber, okay? And that's okay. You literally have to be okay with what you have and figure out a routine for yourself that works for you and your specific skin. Love yourself for who you are, and someone worthy will love you too.
This is just so deep.
On the topic of self-love, I developed an eating disorder from a very young age, and it followed me into my early 20s, and I really wanted to fit in. And I was never like the prettiest, skinniest girl in school, and being surrounded by beautiful girls gave me a major complex and made me, you know, hate how I looked. And I really wanted like a perfect body. And my inspiration came from what I was looking at on TV and in magazines. And girls with perfect bodies looked so happy, and they looked like they were getting everything that they wanted. They were so, you know, praised and so admired. And I remember trying every diet quick fix there was on the market. Like the tablets, the special teas, that like special, what do you even call that thing? A waist belt? like what was I even doing? But the moral of the story is like I was trying everything that they said would like make you lose weight, okay? Because I felt like I was going to be praised and admired and like actually fit in. And before work, I would go running or like do skipping every morning. I was so desperate to get the result that I wanted. And looking back, I actually feel sad for how I was. My solution was trying to eat less food, exercise more, and then binge eat on the side. And it became this super unhappy relationship. And then things obviously changed for me when I was like 22 or 23. I started focusing on becoming healthier and actually nourishing my body, and I lost a lot of weight. And I slowly started to love the person that I saw in the mirror. And not because I was a bit skinnier than before, but because I didn't feel the pressure to look a certain way anymore. I actually felt confident in my own skin instead of shameful. And my reasoning for wanting to be healthier and wanting to appreciate my body came from a place of like sincerity, instead of like pressure or wanting to fit in. I also don't own a lot of clothes. Okay, I may own more clothes than like the average person, but I don't find the need to have only designer items in my closet or buy only trendy items of clothing. I feel it's so normalized now to have more and more and more, and it's not necessary. So I've become more conscious as a consumer on what I need and what I like, and being creative with what I have. And not everyone can afford to have YSL and Gucci and Chanel. And even though I would love those brands myself because it's like literally perfection. It's so stunning and so timeless. I'm okay with not striving to buy those things, and I can kind of just like appreciate them. It's not going to make you cooler or a better person by having those items. That's what I'm trying to say. So don't pressure yourself to get the approval from others. Social media kind of normalizes consumerism, overconsumption, and insane spending, because that is like a sign of success, which are like the luxury items that you own. And I actually did a video on overconsumption, so definitely check that out on my main channel. But, you know, saving your money seems like such a granny thing to say, okay? But it's something that I wish I learned sooner in my life. And I feel like living below your means for a while until you get on your feet can be such a humbling experience and can teach you how to manage your money wisely and responsibly. And I feel like once you do that, you actually will have more freedom to do what you want to do, to spend your money how you want to spend it. You need all of these things to be happy and fulfilled and more successful and more meaningful to other people, because you don't. In the end, most people are so focused on their own lives, they literally don't care what you are doing with yours. So if you are trying to live according to what's acceptable to other people, then I feel like you are just wasting your life and your time instead of focusing on living a life that feels good for you and only you. Social media really is an illusion, so don't let it steal your happiness, guys. So it's 2025. I hope everyone has a beautiful, abundant year. Thank you so much for the support that you've given me last year. And I just hope that we continue to grow together. So have an amazing week. If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, like and comment on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts too. I love hearing from you, and thank you. And I will see you guys soon. So peace.